I still remember that summer day, like it was yesterday. The sun was shining, and I was restless, waiting for an adventure. My best friend Danny and I crept down the creaking stairway into his cool, damp cellar. There was a sense of excitement and a flicker of fear in the back of my mind. It all happened so fast. Danny leaned in close, whispering a promise. He said, "Richie, I'm going to show you a big secret." He put his finger to his lips, urging me to keep quiet. His eyes sparkled with mischief. He climbed up a shelf, reaching high into the rafters. Then he came down with a brass key. "Come on," he beckoned, leading me to a wooden cabinet that towered over us. He unlocked it and swung open the doors. Inside, there was a stack of magazines. I glanced at one and froze. It was filled with images of naked women. My heart raced. I had never seen anything like this before, and it felt strange and forbidden. "Danny, what is this?" I stuttered as he grinned at my naivety. "Nita," he asked, "do you want to see more?" I nodded, unsure of what to say, but as the magazine flapped shut, I felt a weight in my chest. Danny smiled and said, "Wait till you see what's in the drawer." He pulled it open, revealing 2 pistols and several hand grenades. My father always kept the guns loaded, and the grenades were real too. "Here, hold this," Danny said, handing me a grenade. I shivered, feeling the heavy metal in my small hands. "This is pretty neat," I mumbled, trying to hide my fear. I placed the weapon back carefully, feeling a mix of thrill and dread. Then Danny said, "Wait till you see this." He opened 2 more doors inside the cabinet, exposing an altar. A framed photograph caught my eye. It was a figure whose eyes stared ominously into mine. Adolf Hitler. I was horrified. Images of the past flashed through my mind. The stories I had often heard from my elders about the Nazis, my grandfather's family, never heard from since 1941. Danny whispered, "This is a secret, but my parents hate you." I felt a wave of heat rush from my stomach to my throat. "Why?" I asked, completely bewildered. "Because you're a Jew," he replied, his voice steady. The word struck me like a bolt of lightning. I stood paralyzed, struggling to comprehend. My father had often told me that even God hated people like me. The heavy footsteps of Danny's parents creaked through the ceiling above us. I didn't know if I should run, hide, or cry. "Do you hate me, Danny?" I asked, my heart pounding. He shook his head. "No, you're my best friend." But his words felt hollow. "I might hate you when I grow up." I couldn't shake the feeling, the fear that lingered in the air. Danny led me upstairs to the kitchen table, where his mother was waiting. She smiled tightly, her eyes full of warmth. But I felt vulnerable. Could these cookies be poisoned? "Eat, Richie. What's wrong?" she asked, her voice filled with concern. I struggled to hide my misery as I ate the cookies. With each bite, I prayed to God to protect me. I walked home that evening, pale as a ghost. At that age, I had little power to reason. I was simply hurt. My mother greeted me with a gentle smile in the kitchen, rolling out dough. "Your favorite, apple strudel," she said. I hesitated, the weight of the day's events still heavy on my heart. "Does God hate me, Mom?" I asked quietly. "Of course not," she replied, her eyebrows tensing. "Why would you ask such a thing?" I felt afraid to tell her. I was just curious. Avoiding further questions, I ran upstairs to my bedroom. I believed my mother, and I believed that God loved me. But lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, I struggled to grasp the contradiction of love and hate. I secretly prayed, mostly in whispers, hoping for answers. As I listened to the world outside, I felt a sense of shelter. I believed God was listening. Still, I had many questions about this divine being called God. Who is he? Is he like an enormous cloud or a friend? Finally, I began to understand the importance of love and compassion. My parents were not particularly religious, yet they expressed their faith through kindness. They had grown up during the Depression, working hard to support their families. While they wanted the best for us, they were careful not to spoil us. In 1955, when I was just 4, they moved us from Chicago to Sherwood Forest in Highland Park. It was a tranquil neighborhood, and I found solace in the open grass and trees. But as I grew older, I was often seen as sweet yet strange. I had odd habits, refusing to sit in chairs while eating. As a compromise, I was allowed to stand at the dinner table. I idolized the poor and downtrodden, fascinated by their struggles. One day, my father took us to dinner at the local country club. I disrupted everything, rushing out because I couldn't bear to be served by my classmate, a busboy. When my grandpa found me sitting alone in the car, I explained my feelings. He reassured me, and I felt proud of my actions. My grandfather's loving nature reflected deep-rooted beliefs in his religion. I was fascinated by his quiet devotion and how he tried to harmonize traditions with American life. As I grew older, I found myself questioning more about my faith and purpose. I began seeking answers, diving into books and discovering new spiritual techniques. I attended a lecture on transcendental meditation, and it changed my life. Mike, a bearded man, became my guide, introducing me to a world of inner peace. Through meditation, I uncovered deeper realities, a longing for something more. And as I continued this journey, I realized that love and understanding were the keys to a meaningful life. I remember that day when I first felt empowered. The journey was just beginning, and my heart was open to the world. I learned that true strength comes from compassion, and that together we can overcome anything.
Like, comment, and subscribe.